Shelley, middle school language arts teacher, author of the YA series The Lucia Chronicles and the upcoming YA series The Elementals. This video is about my experience recently with Ingram Spark. And if you don't know what Ingram Spark is, it is a print-on-demand publishing source. And the reason that Ingram Spark is kind of a big deal is because their books go into the Baker and Taylor catalog. Now, if you don't know, CreateSpace's books do not do that, and CreateSpace is an Amazon affiliate, which can kind of lead to a problem if you're an indie author, because some bookstores don't want to stock books because it's from Amazon, and they know that CreateSpace is an Amazon affiliate. So, one of the other sources, there's lots out there, but Ingram Spark is a really popular one. And out of my research, and when I talk about my research, I'm talking about things I find on selfpublishingadvice.org, which is Ally's website, A-L-L-I. And they are like a UK-based watchdog for indie authors. And these are things I've gotten from Joel Freelander, who's at thebookdesigner.com, from Joanna Penn, who's at thecreativepenn.com, and these are people who are considered industry professionals when it comes to self-publishing. So basically, I've been publishing with CreateSpace for the last 3 years, and then today, or not today, but this year, I decided to take the leap into looking deeper into Ingram Spark. One of the things that had deterred me was there's a lot of startup costs with Ingram Spark that CreateSpace doesn't have. So for starters, to do an ebook, I think is like $29. To do a print book is $49. To do a print and ebook is also $49. They also have a fee for each time that you upload your manuscript. It's $25. However, I will give you a tip and say that if you look up Ingram Spark and Ally and look up for their coupon code and you follow Ally, then you can use this coupon code and you can get some really great discounts. Like I said, Ally, if you're an indie author, you need to be following them because they are a treasured source that have helped guide me and given me a lot of information, including graphics that compare all the different POD services, including BookBaby, or I think there's something called Lulu Books. So there's a lot of different ones out there. So the book that I chose is The Fractured Life of Jenny McClain, which comes out August 17th. And first, I have to say that I did have to upload several times. My initial plan was to upload to CreateSpace, and if you do both, which is the recommendation, you need to unselect your expanded distribution on CreateSpace, and basically that way it doesn't overlap, because something weird like CreateSpace uses Ingram to distribute too. So what I ended up having to do, let me go back to the beginning, what I ended up having to do is I uploaded to CreateSpace, and I didn't select expanded distribution. I ordered proofs through CreateSpace because proofs are free, or not free, but like significantly cheaper through CreateSpace. We're talking like $5 a book plus shipping. So I did that to make sure the book looked the way I wanted to, ordered a few proofs, uploaded the file, and then when I was satisfied with that, I uploaded to Ingram Spark and went through the Ingram Spark process. Now, you can't use a CreateSpace ISBN, which is a free assigned ISBN, which is your book identifier, when using Ingram Spark. So what I ended up doing is I bought 10 ISBNs through Bowker, BOWKER.com, and it was about $125, I think, or so. It was something like really ridiculous, like the cost for one was like $100, but then for 10 it was $125. So I bought an ISBN through them and uploaded to Ingram Spark, and luckily I didn't have to pay $25 every time because of that code I was using. And so I found some errors sometimes, and their turnaround was really fast in terms of whatever their checking devices are, whether it's real people or automated. It was a lot faster than CreateSpace, and even though parts of the uploading itself, like entering in the book's information, was really tedious compared to CreateSpace, it's almost like CreateSpace is POD for dummies. It was worth it in the end. So finally, once I saw everything look the way I wanted to digitally, I ordered a proof. Now, you can't exactly order a proof through Ingram Spark. You're actually ordering a copy of the book and overriding the date that you have for it to be released. So I ended up ordering my book, and I paid extra for expedited shipping and expedited production time, which is not something you get to select with CreateSpace. I mean, you can select faster shipping, but you can't select faster production time. So I did that because I wanted to make sure it arrived for me to review it and make any changes before the book's release date on August 17th. So one of the other things before I show you and discuss the quality of this book is be sure that if you're using both, you can't just upload your cover that you uploaded. Like I make my own covers, so I couldn't just upload the cover that I used for CreateSpace because I chose a hardback version and not thinking, obviously there's flaps and the size is completely different. So you can enter your book's information and they actually have a template that you can use through Ingram Spark, and I just did the same process that I use when I create it for CreateSpace using Microsoft Word and tips that I've discovered from Derek Murphy over at creativeindie.com. And that's how I create my covers. So that being said, this is the final product in hardback of The Fractured Life of Jenny McClain, and I am so impressed with the quality of this. So basically, you can decide whether you want it to be hard. If it's hardback, you can decide cloth, and you can decide if you want it to be I think it was navy or gray, and then there's gold here, which is the title and my last name, and that's limited to certain characters because usually I put my full name on the spine, but that was limited to a certain number of characters. So if you have a really long title, I'm not sure what will happen. But I'm just not only really impressed with all of that, but even the pages, the paper feels different than CreateSpace. It's a lot smoother. Like some of the CreateSpace, I order my paperbacks because CreateSpace doesn't have a hardback option. Some of the paper seems rough. The ink and the printing and the clarity is very, very good. Sorry, very good on this book. Like I said, the quality is just amazing. The size I chose for this book is 5.5 by 8.5 or 8.5 by 5.5. And the paperback that I got through CreateSpace is the same. So things I like about this is I like the quality. The quality is amazing and like wow, because sometimes with CreateSpace, even if I order like 10 to 20 books for an event, I might see variances in those 10 to 20 books, you know, or something might be sloppy or the color might even be slightly different. So the quality of Ingram Spark is amazing. Something else I like is the fact that it makes things like indie bookstores more open to ordering your books for you. After talking to a person at Barnes & Noble, my local Barnes & Noble, my CreateSpace books are available on bn.com, but they're not available for someone to walk in and order them, and they're not carried in the store at all. But in order for, you know, someone to walk in and want to order my book, or if I wanted to do a book signing at the local Barnes & Noble, and they were to order my books, they could not do that using CreateSpace because of them not being in the Baker and Taylor catalog. So by using Ingram Spark, that opens up a new door of opportunity for me. In addition, Ingram Spark has a return policy. So not only does someone like Barnes & Noble or an indie bookstore get a discount on ordering the book as a wholesaler, but they also get to return any books that aren't sold. And then you as the author can decide if you want those books sent to you, which is at your expense, or if you want those books destroyed or whatever. So that is good because it opens up more possibilities from a business and retail perspective. Also, you want to use IS in conjunction with CreateSpace, but because CreateSpace is really good for international markets. Some things I don't like about Ingram Spark is I don't like the cost. I spent almost a little under $100 just to get this proof in my hands, and I can't imagine what that would have cost without that Ally code that I found. And so like I said, if you're interested in that, look up the Ingram Spark Ally discount code. I don't want to just, you know, give it out there because I don't know how that all works, but I am a follower of Ally and I align myself with them. So that's where I stand on that. Something I also didn't like, I mean, the cost is primarily the only thing I didn't like. Basically, you can, if you order 50 books, you can get the fees like reversed, at least the first $49 that you need to set up your title. But 50 books is a lot. I paid $30 for this. And one of the other things that I didn't like, it's also cost related, is actually royalty related. I wanted to price this hardback at $19.99 to be comparable. This is women's fiction / YA, because the protagonist is 30 years old, but it's about regression therapy and past lives. So she travels to other lives where she is 16, 19, and 20. So it has some YA appeal. So I wanted to make it competitive in that market at $19.99, but that gave me negative royalties. So because of that, I had to price it at $29.99, and that made my royalties positive, and it gives me $1 per book. So really, I'm not looking, if I'm going to be going to Comic-Con, I'm doing a craft show locally in the fall, and I will be ordering my books from CreateSpace for that. However, if I do a book signing at the local Barnes & Noble or a local indie bookstore and they order my books, then they will be ordering these, and these are nice for autographs and things like that. But that's also a thing, is because, you know, for an unknown author who's an indie, self-publishing, they're probably not going to, you know, want to pay $29.99 a book. Something else to note that I did is I did use my own imprint for this called Boxer Bull Books. And that does appear on my copyright page. So you might want to consider that when you buy from Boker, your ISBNs. That's something that you can do as well. And then I was able to list that as my publisher using that ISBN on my CreateSpace books as well. So it won't say CreateSpace, it'll say Boxer Bull Books. Also, the last thing is in terms of ebooks. I just did a print book for Ingram Spark, and I did paperback through CreateSpace, and then I used their Kindle. I convert my own EPUB files to upload to sites like Kobo. So I took that route because through Ingram Spark you'd need even another ISBN. So I just did it through Kindle, which is usually what I've done in the past, and it's actually already active in the Kindle store, even though it hasn't like published yet, because as an indie, Ingram Spark can take a few days before it's active, I've heard. And then we know with CreateSpace, it can be overnight that your book is active, or it can be 3 to 5 days, and it kind of just depends. So if you're looking for an actual release launch date, then you want to make sure that you take care of those things ahead of time. So overall, in the future, with my Elemental series coming up, I'm going to be doing ARCs later this month, and I'll be using CreateSpace for that. But I will be using Ingram Spark and CreateSpace combined. It helps me get into other retailers. I love having the book available in hardback. I love that a bookstore could order my books for a book signing for me and then return anything that's not purchased or that they don't want to keep in stock anymore. I love, you know, being able to do Kindle Select deals if I want to on my books, you know, through using the Kindle Select program. And I think it's just wise to use both sources at the same time. I know that's a lot of information, and hopefully I covered everything. If you have any questions about my experience with Ingram Spark, leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them for you the best that I can, or give you a source that can hopefully answer the question for you. If you haven't checked out Ally, you really need to. And like I said, Fractured Life of Jenny McClain, August 17th, 2016, hardback, paperback, and Kindle for now. In the meanwhile, happy reading and happy writing.